Hi, everybody. I'm Carlene Kinzie, jewelry and metalsmithing teacher at South Campus and North Campus this year. Your student is either a studio or AP jewelry and metalsmithing student with me. If we haven't met before, this is me, and this is also me in my Cognito COVID gear outfit. A little bit about me. I'm a 31-year district resident. These are my three children, my sons. All came through LT 08, class of 11, and class of 2016. I've been with LT since 05 in the art department. I've taught jewelry and metalsmithing at both campuses, ceramics at both, animation at both, digital photography at South, and drawing and painting at South. This is our South Campus metalsmithing studio. This is where I'm teaching out of right now. There's a possibility for your students, if they are granted permission to come back into the building, that I would have them working in this studio. Now, normally they are North Campus students, and we would be working in our studio over at North Campus. I've provided your students with a variety of metalsmithing tools that they are used to using and comfortable using, but I have also told them that I will be giving them any additional tool that they might need to build their artwork for their portfolios and their projects. I am hoping, like I just recently said, that we will get access to the campus and use D131. And once we know that, I will make sure that both you and my students know, and we can schedule a time that is convenient for the group. Oh, also that they need to remember that these tools need to be returned to me at the end of the remote experience. This is just a slide of the basic tools. I talked to your kids yesterday about also having access to a riveting tool, and then hopefully, like I said, being able to use the torches and the drill press and all kinds of different metals, sheet metal, and wire. This is just to remind everybody, and your students are very good at this, that when they're working remotely at home, that they have to take responsibility of their own safety. Of course, I remind them to wear closed-toed shoes and always have their goggles on. And then this information at the bottom left of the screen was in an email that went out to all parents and students about activity-based remote learning that I think is important to know. Okay, I have two groups of students right now that are mixed in with my beginning class. And this is a class that is supposed to be conducted at North Campus. So your student is either a studio student or an AP student. I know that it's unusual to be mixed in with a group of beginners, but I'm excited that your students have decided to take this level, a studio or an AP level, and they've chosen to have it scheduled during a metalsmithing class period. Usually with AP, it is a 3D art and design category, so that could be any kind of materials. So I'm excited to have your students. Now, studio group students are a semester-long class, and they are with, they're getting a level 4 Excel course. They will be following the AP instruction along with my AP students. Now, AP students, it's an annual course, and they are a level 5 advanced placement, which is a college level course. Okay, both groups, like I said, are going to be following the AP syllabus, but the difference is the semester or a full annual class. And then also with the AP students, I'm asking them or encouraging them, if they'd like to, submit their portfolio to AP to have it graded. But this is a choice. It is not a requirement here at LT. If a student feels like it's too much pressure under this remote situation, that is not a problem at all. It will not hinder their grading or their leveling with an AP level 5 or anything like that. But I have asked them to register with AP and they can decide on that portfolio submission later. I'm going to highly encourage both my studio and AP and my beginning students to incorporate other materials into their metalsmithing artworks and also enter any kind of area contests or national contests and art shows. My studio and AP students, okay, since this is a 3D AP studio category, once again, we've had these conversations of trying to incorporate all kinds of different materials into their possible 3D artworks. Paper, cardboard, fabrics, paint, multi possibilities. We are having conversations about this now because this is something new to like really wrap their head around, that it's not just a metalsmithing class for them, since it's a 3D art and design artwork class. Okay, I'm sure that you're very familiar with Canvas by now, that your students are juniors and seniors, but I'd like to cover a little bit of information on this. I am going to be hopping back and forth from a beginning Canvas page and their AP Studio page because of this unique situation of having 3 levels in the same classroom time frame as your students. But Canvas is a great instructional tool to be able to get announcements, assignments, and then also go back and watch videos of demonstrations. Your students are pretty well versed on a lot of the techniques. I do know that 2 of my students had to end their intermediate metalsmithing experience by going out in March to remote learning without any tools in their hand. Yeah, I understand that that is a bit of a concern, but I am hoping that I can get your students back into my classroom and pick up those skills of learning how to like set stones and make bezels and things like that. Okay, let me move on to Infinite Campus. You're probably very familiar with that too. It's a system that is going to communicate grades. Grades are either formative or summative, and then of course it communicates attendance records. Of course, attendance is not graded. Basically, in this grading system, it's under design and participation is not graded. It's either a turned in or a missing, and then their projects are summative. We are going to be following for my studio and AP students the AP syllabus, and I've provided that for them in Canvas to take a look at. Homework is not graded, it's formative, but we're going to use their homework for a basis to start conversations with teacher feedback and peer feedback, which we started yesterday in class. There are no written final exams, but your students are going to have their work as their summative project, and that is going to be either a semester-long portfolio or an annual-long portfolio. I have always recommended that my students and parents put either their Canvas or Infinite Campus apps on their telephones or their devices so they can get notifications. Okay, So this is the Studio Art Canvas page. It's a little bit different than that beginning, but like I said, I'm going to be hopping back and forth, and your students are pretty well aware of this. Now, the AP portfolio development and sustain investigation and their AP grading rubrics can all be found in links and examples of AP studio work on this page. And they're in these blue links that they can open up, and there's a lot of information that I've asked your students to go through and take a look at and be familiar with, especially prior, not my students, but prior students that have submitted portfolios that are three-dimensional and using metalsmithing techniques and other materials combined with metalsmithing in their work for their portfolio development. And of course, the AP scoring info. Communication is going to be key during remote learning, especially with your students. I use Infinite Campus Messenger to send out messages to both parents and students, or just parents and just students. I also communicate through my Canvas Messenger and then good old LTHS email. Here's my email. We are conducting all our classes right now in Zoom, and students need to be on time. It's like arriving on time to a class, and students have to enter the waiting room of my classroom using their at d204.lths.net accounts. This allows me to identify them as legitimate students to be let into my classrooms for security reasons. I ask my students to enter with their cameras on and their microphones muted. Having their cameras on in a visual fine arts studio class is very important to me and to the students' learning. I can only give feedback on what I see and hear in my virtual classroom. And there will be times when your student is going to be holding up drawings or artwork up to their cameras, and I will be able to give them real-time feedback. If your student is having any difficulty with their technology, I recommend to immediately reach out to the help desk at lths.net. We have computers, laptops with cameras that work. They can provide hotspots for better Wi-Fi, and then any general technology assistance. Okay, so how is this actually going to work with studio and AP students mixed in with beginning students? I flip-flop back and forth. I usually get my beginning students started with something. They have not even picked up metalsmithing tools before, so they are unlike your students with their experiences. So I like to get them started, and once they are off and running, I jump into my studio and AP students and work with that smaller group. Typically the creative process, currently we are working on this special exhibit or virtual art show. It's called the 4x5, and it's a three-dimensional artwork for your students using any kind of materials. So I will give them anything that I have access to. And of course, your students are mostly interested in incorporating metal for this project. They have all the criteria and the links for this project, and they're actively designing. And yesterday we had a very good teacher and peer feedback session together. They are going to be exploring other 3D artist studios, artwork, and their artist statements throughout the semester to see what artists do and how they create their artwork. It's very important for them to know what they like and don't like when it comes to creating their own artwork. I shared a little bit of that of my own with them, and they need to begin exploring issues that have personal meaning to them and what they think is important. This is not easy. This is something that we come into kind of tiptoeing in and thinking about their own personal experiences and thinking about what they want to express in their artwork. And finding their why tips them into their inquiry question. And inquiry-based learning is all about the art AP and studio experience. Once they know that question, they're going to begin their sustained investigation, which is the students are going to be delving into like a depth and breadth of work to create their 3D art making with exploration. With journaling, they're going to need to keep their notes and journaling, which would be um, a, um, a sketchbook with sketches, note taking, maybe taking pictures of objects and things that are inspiring to them or experiences, and then receiving that very important teacher and peer feedback, making their revisions to show their growth while they're constructing at home, but I hope not for long, and having full access to my studio. I know this is a lot coming in with a studio and AP student right now, and I'm sure you have some questions, thoughts, concerns. Please feel free to reach out to me through my email at ckinzie@lths.net for anything that you want to ask me about. Please know that I have your students' best interest in mind. I want this experience to be very good and a big development in their learning as being 3D artists. And I'm here for them, and I am really trying to bend over backwards to get them back into a studio setting and letting them create their artwork outside of their home. Thank you very much, and take care.